broadcast radio workshop dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. According to Funk and Wagnall's Desk Standard Dictionary of about 83,000 words and phrases and 1,200 pictorial illustrations, a mystery is something unknown, unexplained, or incomprehensible in its nature. The definition could add that nobody likes a mysterious situation indefinitely, including the police, whose job it is to make the unknown known and to apprehend the incomprehensible. And so it is tonight that we present George H. Faulkner's story of a mystery. It now can be told. The Case of the White Kitten. Our scene, a police station in the suburbs of a large city, possibly the city of New York.
My name is McGonagall. I ain't a cop. I'm a police officer, duly sworn to uphold the laws of this state, be they good or be they lousy, such as they may be. Now, once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten which it got lost. Said small white kitten or cat which it got lost.
Hey, McGonagall, what is this? Who are you talking to?
Subside, Brennan, and get your chin off in a desk rail.
Oh.
Now, once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten named Blanche, which means white in French, Brennan.
Well, how would you know, talking to yourself?
Quiet. According to secret but recently declassified files of the Shorefield Township Police Department, 3rd Precinct, this here now small white cat or kitten was 3 months old when first apprehended in 1954, 2 years ago. Previous record, none. Occupation, cat. Color, white. All white, including the ears.
Sergeant McGonagall, you are positively nuts.
Brennan, I am not nuts, not whatever. I am testing, just testing, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, woof. Testing.
Testing what? And don't woof at me. I scare easy.
I'm trying out the new tape recorder, this thing.
Oh, another gadget. What's it for?
For the convenience of duly elected public officials and for the confusion of the criminal classes, especially drunken drivers.
How so, for instance?
Well, for instance, suppose you pull in a drunk in a brand-new fire-make sports car for speeding down 25A under the influence of intoxicating libation.
Oh, no, not me. No, not no foreign-make sport car.
Right,
no.
You are. Make it a 1938 Rio. All right.
Yeah.
So... you drag some poor square-type drunk in here, falling over your feet as usual. We invite this lush to read the Gettysburg Address into the gadget here, and, brother, it tells on him.
No.
Or suppose, for instance, the Honorable Charles A. Peabody, Justice of the Peace, supposing he wants to record one of his bad jokes for posterity.
Yeah?
He just presses a button, he talks into this, and then press another button. Now listen...
Hey, what in the world is that?
That is you going backwards, which is what you are usually doing.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
And you see, we got to go backwards before we can go forwards again.
Huh?
All right, here we go. Now, listen, boy, just listen.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten which it got lost. Said small white kitten or cat.
Oh, McGonagall.
That's you.
Who are you talking to?
Subside, Brennan, and get your chin off in a desk rail. Now, once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten named... You know, maybe I don't talk so good after all. In French, Brennan.
How would you know, talking to yourself?
Hey, according to secret but recently declassified... Yeah, but I got a very
I know
nice
that
deep
voice.
voice. Police Department, 3rd Precinct.
Yeah.
This here now small white cat or kitten was 3 months old when first apprehended in 1954. But that ain't so bad, is it? Previous record, none. Occupation, cat. Color, white. All white, including the ears.
Sergeant McGonagall, you are positively nuts.
Brennan,
Fred, me pal, do I sound like that?
For your sins, Patrick Brennan, you do.
Oh, no.
And so do I. And all at the taxpayer's expense.
Yeah, but what's all that stuff about a cat?
I'm telling a story, Pat, into the machine. On account I got to learn how to operate the thing.
A story?
Yeah. A mystery story.
Oh, like in the movies.
Movies. The movies wouldn't touch it. This story probes too deep, Pat. It lays bare the human heart.
Honest? Really bare?
I don't know. I haven't sold it yet. Now, let me see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Once upon a time, there were 3 small trees. A, B, and C. All 3 trees aforementioned are guaranteed to contain chlorophyll, sap, bark, and buds, which are waiting for the springtime. And behind the 3 trees, let me tell you, there are 3 houses. A, B, and C. Said 3 houses are all alike. But said 3 houses are not all together in a row. Scattered they are all over Hillside Manor, which it ain't got no hill and not so much manners, but it is now in Precinct 3 for better or worse. On paper, Hillside Manor looks like this on a map here behind my desk where I'm pointing, see? Police think, get that, Brennan, police think that the cat or kitten in question came from approximately here through an open kitchen door. And it is surmised by police that at on or about this point, the poor little feline was scared stiff by a large Airedale Terrier known to frequent the neighborhood after dark with evil companions. So what does she do? She hightails it out of there to about here, approximately, where she sits down to sort of think, near House A, here. Our reconstruction of the circumstances can now proceed only by way of conjecture. And you, Officer Brennan, will kindly note that beautiful expression. Police think the youthful cat may have been alarmed once again by this. Which has been known to scare the pants off anybody since they give up steam whistles on the railroad. She couldn't know it's just the commuters getting home worried like her. So she winds up here at House C, all tucking out. The back porch looks familiar. Very familiar. And inside House C, there's the Curtis family, just Joe and Louise. Very nice people of Curtis. They're sort of educated, but no children.
Dear.
Yeah, just a second, darling. Oh, what is it, Joe?
First sign of spring in newsletter, believe it or not. You ever hear tell about skunk cabbage?
No, I haven't, and I don't think I want to.
First sign of spring out here says so.
Oh, spring. Why, it's only February, February what?
February 21st.
Spring.
Did you listen to this? Mm-hmm. Up and down the northern shore, our first harbinger of spring, now visible, is Symplocarpus fetidus, the common skunk cabbage, which, as Thoreau put it, sees over the brow of winter's hill.
Mm-hmm. Thoreau said everything.
Just about. Mm-hmm. Well, the editorial goes on. This lowly, rank, and stinking member of the lily family possesses, in lieu of beauty or pleasant scent, a remarkable hardiness, and the property of increasing its interior temperature as it forces its bud through the chilly crust of February. Like a species of green fire, it literally burns its way up out of snow and ice to find the sunlight.
Attaboy, cabbage. Find me some sunlight. Oh, continue, Joe. Don't mind me.
Yes, well, with the air at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature in the interior of a nascent?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a skunk cabbage.
Well, where was I? With the air at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature in the interior of a budding skunk cabbage has been found to be as high as 123 degrees, 25 degrees above blood heat, and 64 degrees higher than the surrounding atmosphere.
Well, now, what do you know? Hot diggity. There's more, I hope.
Yes, it ends with a poem in praise of the skunk cabbage.
What?
Yep, I'm not kidding.
This is in the newspaper?
It's a good newspaper.
Oh,
intelligent.
please.
Listen. All hail to Symplocarpus, the harbinger of spring. Inside his leafy carcass, he boils like anything. Although he doesn't smell so sweet, this fen-side fellow yearns to break the ice and be complete. And as he yearns, he burns. Not snow, nor rain, nor gloom of night can stay his hot desire. Let's learn from him and warmly fight to lift ourselves up higher. For we... Louise, you're not listening.
No, I was listening to something else.
Well, what?
Joe, be quiet. Listen. Oh?
Cat. The neighborhood is cat full.
Oh, it's right outside our door, I'm sure. I'm going to see.
Louise, I don't like cats.
I know you don't. Just skunk cabbages.
They kill birds.
Not if you put a bell on them.
Skunk cabbages?
No, nature boy, the cat. Oh,
Beat up on your own head, Louise.
Dear. Come, Miss. Oh, isn't she a darling? Just a little stray kitten, but white all over.
Well, kittens I can take, but they grow up into cats. Any color, they get to be cats.
Oh, poor little thing. She must be starved wandering around in the snow. Here, Joe. Here, you hold her a minute while I heat some milk.
Me hold her?
Yes. Here, now, she won't bite you. Oh, listen to her purr. Oh.
Nice kitty. Nice kitty. Well, maybe you are. Where are you from, Miss Cat? Catalina? Catalonia? The Catskills? Kitty Hawk, maybe, huh? Hey, you left your motor running, Miss Cat. Does your mother know you're out?
All right, Joe. Here's the milk. Now, here, put her down.
She likes it here where she is on my shoulder. She's a happy cat.
All right, but she must be hungry.
Well, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Milk, Miss Cat?
Oh, look, what did I tell you?
She's hungry, all right.
What are we going to do with her?
That is indeed the question. Seeing that we already have 1 cocker spaniel, 1 parakeet, 24 tropical fish, and 15 dependent chickadees outside the window.
Mm-hmm.
Louise,
Yes, Joe.
could we keep her?
No, we couldn't.
No, I guess we couldn't. Lonely as we are. What I want to know is, where did she come from? Oh, she's lonely, too. Like the tree out in front.
So much for House C, the Curtises, which are stuck with the cat. At this point, we, the police, were baffled.
Police ain't even ever heard of this here cat yet, Sarge.
That's why we of the police were baffled, Brennan. I am telling the story in introspect.
What does that mean?
It happened 2 years ago. Do I hold your interest, Brennan? Do you wish to know more about this cat or kitten?
No. But I like to watch the recording machine go round. It fascinates me in a mild way.
So don't ask questions. We proceed now to House B, 62 Haberdasher Lane. People name her Benson. The Bensons are just moving in. There's Dwight D. Benson, age 10 months, wet or dry. Clark Benson, 10, and Gregory Peck Benson, 8, are upstairs in the expansion attic, which is not finished, walking the open floor beams, which we have to warn kids around here not to do all the time, lest they should maybe fall through the ceiling. Downstairs unpacking are Miss Gloria Benson, 12, with Mrs. Greta Benson, housewife. Here comes Mr. Benson, Woodrow W. Benson. Woody is carrying in a bed. He is very large.
Greta!
Yes, Woody?
Where you want the youth bed?
Upstairs.
Well, there ain't no upstairs, only the attic. No floor up there, just beams. Expansion, it says.
Oh, I keep forgetting. No cellar either. I tell you, Woody, tote it upstairs to the expansion attic and put it down crosswise on the floor beams. We'll figure it all out later. Okay?
Okay, manager. Up we go. Evo!
Mommy? Huh? What is it, child? Blanche. Where's Blanche? The kitten. Oh, good heavens, did we bring her?
Sure we did. I held her myself all the way in the car.
Woody!
Yeah.
Did we bring the kitten?
Sure, I saw her here just a couple of minutes ago in the kitchen.
Oh,
I'll call her.
all right.
Here, kitty. Here, Blanche.
Don't go too far away, dear.
Hey, tired, Greta?
Yes, I am, and sort of lonely.
Oh?
Oh, so many houses. Like one big apartment house, only spread out all over the land. With one tree in front of each house.
Homesick for the Brooklyn flat already, huh?
Oh, no, but we don't know anyone around here. I feel lonely, Woody.
Well, in 2 weeks, we'll know 20 people, sure thing.
Oh, I hope so, Woody. I hope so.
pass biological deference to House A, the home of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Andrews, with tree. I guess we'd have to say there isn't much hope here. Not just now. There's Mr. Andrews and a doctor.
Doc?
She may have waited too long, Mr. Andrews.
But I told her. I kept telling her if she got one of them spells, she should call you.
Well, your wife probably will recover. Tomorrow will tell. By tomorrow evening.
Yeah. Can I see her, Doctor?
No. The nurse is in there. It's lucky I sent for her. Now, you just take it easy.
Easy? Easy? Angela and me, we've been married 25 years. Kids are all gone away. We're alone now.
I know. Well, I'll be here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I advise you to go to work as usual. There's nothing you can do. Now, where can I call you if necessary?
The pet haven over on the turnpike. Stray dogs and cats. It's the animal shelter. I run it for the kennel club.
Well, I'll phone you there tomorrow. And, Mr. Andrews...
Yes, Doc.
That whiskey bottle, put it away. It can't help you. Or your wife. You know that.
Yeah.
Don't disturb your wife, please. The nurse knows what to do. Good night.
Night, Doc. Angela with you. No, I won't think about it. I must not think about it. What do you want?
We lost our kitten, mister. Over back there. A white kitten. Did you see a white kitten, mister?
No, I didn't. Get out, you brat. Alone. All alone. I can't live all alone.
Leaving the three houses, A, B, and C. Hey, Brennan.
Yes, Sarge.
Wake up. Did you ever try to get any person to adopt a stray kitten? Don't answer, because take it from me, it can't be done. Either persons have got a cat, or they wouldn't have a cat, not at no price. And so kittens is a drudge on the market. In Hillside Manor, we got definitely a surplus of cats. Of course, there is only one sensible thing to do, which people should learn, but since when did people learn?
Since when?
They didn't. Except the Curtises. They phoned me, and I entered one loss and found white kitten right in the blotter. And when we changed shifts on the desk, I handed the blotter over. Over to you, Brennan. Remember? Only 2 years ago?
I refuse to answer on advice of counsel unless somebody should kick me out of my job.
Don't worry, Brennan. Would you gone, who would listen to me? Nevertheless, the Curtises called me up, like good citizens, about this here homeless cat. And not 5 minutes after I had wended my homeward way, there were you reading a comic book where Mrs. Benson comes in here to the station house. As I reconstruct the conversation...
Ma'am?
We just moved in on Haberdasher Lane, and our phone isn't connected yet.
So, ma'am?
Well, has anybody called up about finding a stray white kitten? It's my daughter's kitten. We like her very much.
No, ma'am. Not tonight. Not yet. If you'd leave your name and address, we get an awful lot of kitten trade.
Time passes, which is habitual. Next afternoon in front of the Curtis residence.
Sure, I know it's sensible, but since when have we been sensible people?
Now, Joe, we've got to think of the kitten. What's best for her? The police have had no calls. I phoned the pet place on the turnpike early this morning, and the man said he knew a photographer who wanted 2 white kittens for an advertising picture.
Yeah? What happens then? Does Miss Cat here get to go to Hollywood, maybe? A stand-in for Marilyn Monroe?
Oh, I don't know. All I know is we can't keep her, and this is the best thing to do. Well, it's a good thing it's Saturday. I just couldn't take her myself.
Okay, let's go. Poor Miss Cat. Over the hill.
Come in.
Mr. Andrews?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, what you got?
This little white kitten. I gave you my address and phone number this morning. I told you that...
Oh, yes, I remember. Hey, Elwin! You want to leave you're going to leave the cat. Elwin,
yes.
Come in here. Bring the cat box.
Hey, what is this?
You want to have to get rid of the cat? You give him to Elwin here with the box.
But this box...
Well, you sign the papers, you pay me $1, and that's all there is to it. Now, I find him a nice home and take care of the cat and get him the best home and the crazy man, the photographer...
Louise.
Fellow that
Yes,
wants
Joe.
to...
We are not putting this cat in that box.
No.
Besides, this man is drunk. Let's get out of here. Let's go.
Now, just a minute, please.
At this point in the pursuit of police duty, take a personal interest in the case of the white kitten as follows. Mrs. and Mr. Curtis?
Yes. Won't you come in, officer? Oh, Joe, this is Mr. Curtis.
Evening, sir. Pleasure indeed.
Evening, sir. What can we do for you? PBA? Tickets for the ball?
No. Well, due to the inefficiency of a subordinate on my staff...
What was that?
On account of Patrolman Brennan is so dumb... I see Mr. Curtis has got a white kitten on his shoulder.
Yes. Anything wrong with that?
No, but according to information we have, the police have recently received...
I'll get it, dear. You get out. Joe, it's that awful Andrews man.
Oh, no.
Andrews?
Mrs. Curtis.
Joe!
Oh,
Joe!
no. Mr. Curtis, please, let me explain.
Now,
I'm
just a
sorry
minute.
I was drunk, sir.
You sure were. What are you doing here now?
It means my job. I can't afford to lose my job. You must listen.
We're listening people. Come in.
I don't know how to tell you. My wife, Angela, she's sick. She's terrible sick. I couldn't take it. I was waiting for the doctor to call, and there wasn't anything I could do at home. So I went to work. The doctor said I should. I couldn't sit still, not, waiting. I had to. Oh, please. I had to.
Here, officer. You take the cat.
Sure. Come here, kitty. Come.
Mr. Andrews, my wife and I have discussed reporting your conduct to the people you work for. We don't like to do things like that, but in this case,
Hey,
we
look
felt
here,
probably
I know Mr. Andrews. Curtis, he's all right.
He may be all right in your book, sir.
Please, that call may be for me. I had to come here, but I left word with Dr. Walton. You don't mind if I answer the phone, please?
No. Go ahead. You might as well.
Yes. Yeah, this is Andrews. Doctor? Oh, thank God. Thank God. Yeah, I'll be right back. Angela, she's my wife. She's better. Much better. She's not going to die. She's not... Angela?
Good heavens. More people?
Mrs. Curtis?
Yeah?
This is my husband, and this is
Lloyd.
Pleasure, Missy. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, friends and good people, if you will kindly take chairs, I think we can clear up this case in an inimical fashion.
Hey, who are you?
I'm a police officer.
So I notice. Well, go on. Don't let me stop you.
I don't think you could, sir, if you wish to do so. Would you wish to try, pal?
I might, pal. I might. This here's our cat. The cat my daughter's got. That's our cat, that there.
That there, sir, is your cat if and when I choose to say so, and not before.
How come you can say whose cat is whose cat around here?
Because I represent the law in Hillside, man, a third precinct. This, sir, is my life work.
Wait a minute, you two. Officer, it seems clear that the cat must belong to... I'm sorry, what was your name?
Benson.
Benson? Yes. The cat must belong to the Bensons because you can see she knows their little girl.
The cat does not as yet have an owner. Not officially, Mr. Curtis.
I don't understand.
Not until I say so officially.
Then why don't you say so?
Because this citizen has chosen to make an issue of my authority. I do not permit my authority to be questioned
But, Mr.
or fluted.
Greta, would you mind if I socked this copper in the jaw?
Now, look, you
He
say-
wouldn't be the first one. Wait a minute! What? Just a minute, I said. Nobody is going to sock nobody in the jaw in my living room.
That is not what living rooms are for. Not primarily. This little girl has a cat, and possession is 9 points of the law.
Yes.
Not in the 3rd precinct.
And besides, in addition, a cat has 9 lives, and that makes everything extremely legal. Can't we settle this without any right hooks? How about it, officer?
I do not actually wish to engage in fisticuffs over and above a cat or kitten.
How about you, Mr. Benson?
Woody.
Well, all right. So it's okay, officer. You win.
Very well. Officially, the cat is yours, ex post facto, or from here on in.
Look at it.
Officer, what I don't understand is, how did you happen to come here to our house?
On account of flying.
Nope. On account of that flatfoot Brennan, my colleague, ladies and gentlemen, what ain't got hardly any little gray cells. But it's otherwise okay. Had Pat Brennan been able to put 2 and 2 behind each other last night, police would have thrown out a what do you call it?
A dragnet? No!
Yeah, and we would all have been spared the sad spectacle of Dick Andrews' distress.
Oh, well, I'm all right now, Fred.
And it is thanks to Mr. Andrews that police were able to solve this case.
Really?
Having sobered up somewhat late this afternoon, Mr. Andrews called me, which is always a sensible thing to do in these parts. So, to look up the white kitten or cat in the headquarters blotter was but the work of an instant.
Well,
And then
all's well that ends well. Could I offer you people some coffee? Mr. Andrews? Oh, I'm so sorry about this afternoon. I can't
Not as sorry as me, ma'am. It was the first time. But I think I better go home now. The doctor said I could see Angela.
Oh.
She's going to get well.
Oh, well, we're glad for you. We'll do it some other time.
Poor little guy. They're very lonely people, folks. The Andrews is awful lonely. They're sort of left over.
Well, not anymore, they won't be. We'll see to that. How about it, Mrs. Curtis?
You bet, Mr. Benson. But now, will you folks have some coffee?
Oh, you must have
Sure
some.
thing.
Sure,
It's good to know somebody around here.
All of this happened 2 springs ago. In the meanwhile, nature has happened like always, and the kitten Blanche has blossomed out into glorious feline womanhood, providing further kittens for the Bensons, the Curtises, the Andrewses, and each and sundry throughout our charming community. And so we leave the 3 families, A, B, and C. And that's the end of the story, Brennan. End of the tape.
That's a mystery story. When nobody got sapped or knifed or shot up or even kicked in the stomach? What's the mystery?
Everybody lived somewhat happily ever after. That's the mystery, Pat. That's always a mystery. Just a second. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Oh, right away, ma'am. Hey, Brandon.
Yeah, Fred.
94 Candlestick Makers Lane. Dog has got a white kitten up a tree. Get down there on a double, Pat. Life continues, which is also habitual.
You have been listening to the CBS Radio Workshop and the Case of the White Kitten, written by George H. Faulkner, music by Charles Paul, and directed by Ira Ashley. Featured in the cast were Audrey Christie, Kenny Delmar, Barry Kroger, Ed Latimer, Arlene Blackburn, Don Briggs, Lynn Loring, Bill Smith, Frank Milano, and Mason Adams. This is the CBS Radio Workshop.
This is possibly one of the most lovely views. I thought it was good from Westminster Bridge, but I shall always now think that Big Ben has a very special one. I'm looking directly down on Westminster Bridge, over the Thames. I can see St. Paul's, and it is the perfect time of day, the end of the day, and the sun is shining, and everything looks pretty all right from up here.
CBS Radio presents the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. Tonight, from England, the workshop presents Miss Sarah Churchill's Portrait of London. Daughter of one of the 20th century's greatest statesmen and former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Miss Churchill has established herself as a talented and sensitive actress in both America and England. Because of American interest in the great cities of Europe, we have asked Miss Churchill a question about her home. Recorded from London, here is her reply.
You ask me, what does London mean to me? Well, it's the city in which I was born and have lived for more than half of my life. Even though now I am a wanderer and perhaps should be able to take a detached view of it, I can't. Whenever I return to London, I am simply coming home. However, since you have started me thinking, whenever London is mentioned, or the chimes of Big Ben ring out from a newsreel or radio, I see a large city, mostly grey in color, except for the vivid splashes of green when the parks are in leaf or bloom. So when I think of London, perhaps it is the parks that flash most quickly through my mind. Perhaps this is because I was a child here and spent many happy hours playing in them. I've always felt that London had a very special tempo of her own. Somewhere in a football crowd or a racing crowd, or in the hubble-bubble of Covent Garden Market in the early morning, or in Petticoat Lane with its vendors on a Sunday morning, or in the Stock Exchange with its brokers and jobbers, or in the House of Commons with its debates. Among all these sounds and rhythms of London, I feel a steady pulse as reassuring as a heartbeat. Well, we've got a wonderful day for going around London. I thought we'd start with the zoo. It's quite early in the morning, so there's nobody here, but I wanted to pay a visit to my father's pet lion, which was given to him by the Lion Club of America in Chicago. He's quite a young lion, and here is somebody who can tell me much more about it. It's one of his keepers. His name is Mr. Swain. Mr. Swain, is Rusty nice? Does he have any particular characteristics?
Well, Rusty is very nervous at the moment. He's very young. And as you see, he goes at the back of the cage when you go to stroke him.
Yes. Oh, well, that was very alarming.
But he's not too bad at the moment. He may grow out of it.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
How soon must you stop treating them as pets? I mean, when they're quite small, you can pick them up. I mean, I can see you couldn't pick him up now.
No, but that's one thing you can't say.
You mean they develop characteristics like people? They may get better or worse?
That's right. Yes, that's very correct. He's all right as it goes for a youngster.
Rusty, I think you're very nice. Rusty? Rusty? Thank you. Well, I think he's given me a wonderful smile. Goodbye, Rusty. Well, we're just passing a cage with some birds called Quaker parakeets, which are simply enormous, and they make quite a lot of noise. It must be because we're walking by. Incidentally, people think that it's foggy in London. They should be here today because it's really quite hot, and we're sitting on the grass taking a rest before we take you along to Buckingham Palace. Mr. Gregory, would you tell me something about the London Zoo and what you do here?
I have been employed here on the bird section for over 30 years. Of course, we reckon it's the best zoo in the British Isles, naturally, because we work here. It holds a royal charter, and it's a great favourite with all the people in London. We have huge crowds here on bank holidays, and I think they all appreciate they have the value for their money.
Mr. Gregory, how long has this zoo been in existence?
Our zoo, London Zoo, has the Royal Charter. The correct name is the Zoological Society of London. The first charter was granted in 1828.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for showing me Rusty. Goodbye now.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. They're changing guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. A. Milne's poem for his son revives for all London children the continuing delight of watching the guards change outside Buckingham Palace. You know, I can't believe that there is a Londoner who does not, as he passes Buckingham Palace on foot, bicycle, by cab or car, who does not shoot a glance up to the flagpole atop of Buckingham Palace to see whether the Queen is at home. This you can tell by seeing whether the Royal Standard is flying. It is today, flying in a strong, fresh breeze, so we know that the Queen is at home. When a Londoner sees this, London becomes just that much more of a home to him. And when the flag is down, we all of us wonder where she is, how she is, and if all goes well with her and hers. We're standing at the foot of the Queen Victoria Monument, just meters across from Buckingham Palace. There's a very nice fountain which splashes about. Hey, the policeman will make you get down off there.
Do you mean a cop?
Well, yes, I mean a cop. Do you live in London?
I live in London, Melbury Road.
Oh, in Kensington. Oh, yes, I know that. I didn't know Melbury Road. Well, maybe he'll let you stay.
I hope so.
The guards are in their full summer dress of scarlet tunic, blue trousers, and bearskin cap. And the horse guards, the household cavalry guard, they have the plumed helmets and the burnished breastplates and the white buckskin breeches, long black riding boots. There must be, I suppose, some 2,000 people here, but don't think that they're all tourists. More than half of them are Londoners who like to come again and again to see this particular pageant. Well, now I think we should go down into the heart of London, which is the city, past St. Paul's, way down, and go to a rather strange market. Now, this is a market that runs just for about 4 hours during a Sunday morning, and is called Petticoat Lane. It is principally a market for clothes. Perhaps that's why it's called Petticoat Lane. I don't know, but it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and if we hurry, we'll get there before it closes at midday.
Now, Bob is trying to fix the old farm. Now, turning up his horse. Now, makes the
Well, this is the famous Petticoat Lane in London, where you can buy anything. You can buy a puppy dog, you can buy jellied eels. I just noticed a stand that is selling very nice little statues of my papa puffing away at a cigar. I simply have to go and look at those.
How much are these ashtrays of Sir Winston?
The ashtrays are 2 shillings.
Oh, and how about the little statues?
The small ones are 1 shilling, complete with 3 cigars. You place, in each model, you see, there's a hole by the side of his mouth. You place the imitation cigar in and light it up with either a cigarette lighter or a box of matches. I'll show you how it's done. There you are. And before you can say Jack Robinson, there he is, puffing and smoking.
Well, now we'll take a walk down Petticoat Lane and let the market speak for itself.
What colour do you want, dear? What colour?
White.
They're all with coloured borders there.
I'll take anyone.
You'll take anyone. Thank you very much, sir.
The man who is talking in the background is trying to sell things to a large crowd like you do at an auction, and he's waiting around for bidders, and as I'm holding a microphone up, I might have to buy it, so I'm moving on now.
Nobody got one? All right, then if you haven't got one, I'll use one of those. As long as you're satisfied they're all right, that's all that really matters.
What size are there? 42, madam? Let me take your meters, don't you? 42 there, sold at 39 and 11 in the shops. There, I'm doing it for 30 bob.
Well, this really is an amazing street. You can buy anything, as I said. The clothes are very nice, and you can get... Oh, I saw some Western clothes being sold there. Well, did you know that all the Davy Crockett hats are having a tremendous success in England? And I have a confession to make. I've never been here before.
London still has a certain amount of horse traffic. Some of the milk carts and coal carts are still drawn by ponies or horses.
Here comes a vendor with a very sweet, shaggy pony, like a little baby cart horse, and I think if we ask him, he'll give us a nice cry. What are you selling?
I'm buying, ma'am. Any old rag iron buckles today. Buying.
Oh, I see. You're buying, yes.
Any old junk. Mr. Churchill's my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, he knows me very well. I'm always down here every day, ma'am.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
St. James's Street is composed of some very old and beautiful 18th century houses. They all have the high, spacious rooms, and the entire street really consists of clubs, men's clubs. Now, these form a very important part in the Englishman's life. You've heard that his home is his fortress. Well, even that isn't enough for him. He has to have a place to get away from the women. And so he goes to his clubs, famous clubs such as Boodle's, White's, Brooks, Bath, Pratt, and the Conservative Club. They're all in the same street. Now, I can't go inside, so I found an English friend who is going to take my American friend in. But first I want to ask him, Tony, would you tell me, how did the clubs originate, really?
Well, in the 18th century, groups of friends used to meet in coffee houses to drink coffee and tea and chocolate, which were rather exotic drinks in those days. And gradually they became rather a closed circle, and the people who went there used to frown on those they didn't know coming in, and they used to meet there to bet. It was a sort of betting shop as much as anything.
But now, what did they bet on?
Well, mainly on horses and sporting events, but also on every sort of thing, political as well. One of the bets I recall was a bet that in 1802, that in 3 months' time Mr. Pitt would no longer be in office. But there were all...
How do you know this?
Well, they keep a betting book. They kept one in those days, which listed all the bets, and if they are paid or not. And, well, another one of the famous, more fantastic bets, Mr. Fox and his friends, sitting in Brooks's on a rainy afternoon, betted a fortune on raindrops coming down the window, one against the other, which would reach the bottom first.
That's wonderful. Now, I shall wait out here, and if you would take Mr. Rogers and show him the club, I would be very grateful.
Yes, let's go in.
We're fighting our way through London traffic. If you think you have traffic problems in New York, come and spend some time sitting here. I think perhaps the London taxi cab is a very important part of London, too. They're all the same. They're little black Austins. They're not like your gay colored convertibles that you have in America. The color in our cars really comes from the great red double-deck buses, which were always a very gay sign on a gray day. The traffic is moving a bit now. Of course, today it's a little worse than usual because this is the rehearsal for Trooping the Colour, which, as you know, is what we do to celebrate the Queen's birthday. It doesn't matter when a monarch has his birthday, they make an official day of it, and we hold it in summer because, as you know, in summer in England it never rains. Here in the press section on a day that they're holding a rehearsal for the Trooping of the Colour. The stands are packed with tourists, and it's lucky that there are so many rehearsals because the parade ground is really very small, and this gives people a chance to see what is perhaps one of the most moving and beautiful military pageants, miniature military pageant. This is really what is... The Horse Guards Parade isn't very big, and so you have a great feeling of intimacy. You really see the little arena, and you can
Now, we have some wonderful names. We have the Mounted Band of the Royal Horse Guards, known as the Blues, Grenadier Guards, Coldstream Guards, Scots Guards, Irish Guards, Welsh Guards. The music you're hearing to, they're doing a slow march of massed bands, drums and pipes, and they march across, and then they double back through themselves, and they wear the red tunic and of course the famous bear skins, and they really do look like toy soldiers from here. The precision is absolutely clockwork. Yesterday was a wonderful day, bright and sunny. Today, of course, it is raining. Up go the umbrellas. I'm crouching under one. The colors are now being presented at this moment. And then, of course, they march the colors round the whole square, and as they pass, as you do, everybody stands up and the men remove their hats. The rain is now settling in. Luckily, it's not great big drops. It's a sort of, well, I guess, being British, I'll call it a Scotch mist. It's descending. And people who don't have umbrellas are putting newspapers over their heads and handkerchiefs. But nothing will drive them away. Well, I've been listening to the people talking in the crowd, and I found another American. I get to ask him what he thinks about it. Excuse me, are you enjoying it?
Very much. I think it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen before in my life. Does it always rain like this in England?
No. Despite the fact that it's now pouring. Oh, we did? Oh. Good news has just been brought. We left our raincoats in the car. The car is about half a mile away because naturally they have to shut the streets to traffic. So I suppose we just have to get wet. Oh, the color is now being trooped. I have to report just a rustle of agitation in the crowd because it is now absolutely pelting down. And the press are leaving. They have to because of the cameras really cannot work without shelter in this rain. Although one man is doing his best. He's completely draped in his Macintosh. I don't know what he thinks he's doing under there. Well, lorries, or trucks, as you would call them, have arrived with the Macintoshes for the guards. So now we shall have the wonderful sight of seeing them all put their Macintoshes on. Raincoats, sorry. This, of course, if this was really the show, they would just have to go on and get wet. But as it's a rehearsal, practicability and sense has taken place, and the lifeguards are trotting back and away. And at a pretty smart canter. Oh, no, this is all the king's horses and all the king's men. It's wonderful. Look at them galloping up. Do you see? Look. Oh, they're having a time of their lives. They must wait a long time, but they're allowed, actually, to go into a smart canter up the Mall and hurry to their barracks. Well, now we are losing our bright colors. This appears to have gone too far even for us. We're standing now in the pit or the well of Big Ben. We're going to make a journey up. There isn't an elevator or a lift, and we're going to have to do it on our feet. So we're pausing at the bottom while we look up and see the height that we have to go. Now, this is quite an experience for me because the outside of the building is very familiar, but I have never been here before, and I'm longing to go up to here. As I've said before, the chimes of Big Ben are known all over the world, both to foreigners and to Londoners. But I wanted to do something special for my American friends, which is to hear the pulse of the clock. Now, without more ado, we're going to start a long way up. Well, it's really getting towards the end of the day, and we're on our way up, and we've run into some important people who have to do with the whole part of keeping restored the Houses of Parliament. There's also a lot to do with the clock, and I will let them identify themselves. Would you tell me what you do here?
Well, my name is Mr. Moore, and we're working on the steel plates.
My name is Mr. Charles Payne. We're doing the painting up here now.
Would you explain me what the steel plates works does?
Well, it's all repainting, like, you know, but we've had to take the rust off the old plates, and now we're recoating them.
Would you tell me what you do here?
Well, I don't know what I can tell you. You've almost heard everything what we can tell you. We're all on the same job.
Mm-hmm.
And my name's Mr. Horrigan.
Is it a continuous job?
Well, it will be till it's finished.
Uh-huh. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, now we're going to go right to the top and hear the clock. Well, we finally made it. And now, I speaking as a Londoner, born and bred, am standing in a place I never thought I would be, which is in the clock room. And I'm sure you could hear the pulse, which is what we have been looking for. To be technical, it's a 2-second beat. The machinery is incredibly simple. I expect one thinks after times and days and minutes and seconds, one's going to have the most fabulous amount of wheels. But actually, on the whole, it is rather a simple form of mechanism. It's a little too big for your own mantelpiece, however.
This, the great clock of Westminster, to use its correct title, is a famous timepiece. It's a relay throughout the world because of its accuracy. And the accuracy is brought about by adding penny weights to the pendulum to compensate for the weather conditions.
That is absolutely amazing. They really are pennies. That was just a half hour being struck. Now, we only have one thing left to do before we go down from the tower, and that is actually to visit Big Ben himself in person. You see, Big Ben isn't the tower. Big Ben is the bell that lives in the tower. And so we're going to see him before we go. There's a nice story about it. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Butler, who really knows it.
The story, as I understand it, that a debate took place in the House of Commons to decide on the naming of the Great Bell. And the first Commissioner of Works at that time, who was responsible for the debate, was a man of very large stature, known as Big Ben. And one of the backbenchers called out, "Why not call it Big Ben?" And there was a great deal of laughter, and the debate then came to an end, and the bell has been known from that time onwards as Big Ben.
Well, we've now left the clock tower, and we have gone up, and we are visiting Big Ben in person. This, of course, is an open tower. We were in enclosed spaces before, but once again now we are out like really in just the ordinary battlements of a castle. Mr. Butler will tell you his actual dimensions, but I can assure you for myself, he is big.
Big Ben is approximately 9 feet in diameter and weighs over 13 tons. When it first arrived at the Palace of Westminster, it was hoisted onto a temporary platform for the purpose of testing, and a very heavy clapper was used which cracked the bell. So the bell today has not a correct musical note.
This is possibly one of the most lovely views. I thought it was good from Westminster Bridge, but
I shall always now think that Big Ben has a very special one. I'm looking directly down on Westminster Bridge, over the Thames. I can see St. Paul's, and it is the perfect time of day, the end of the day, and the sun is shining. You remember earlier we were seeing too big a colour and there was a downpour of rain. But now you see it's all cleared away and everything looks pretty all right from up here. Well, I'm back home again now, and that was really quite a day. From my window, I can see that the light atop of Big Ben has gone out. Well, this means that the House of Commons has finished for the day, and the members are beginning to go home. Now, the constable walks through the vaulted corridors that are outside the chamber and calls,
"Who goes home? Who goes home? Who goes home?"
Who goes home? This dates from the early days of our Parliament, when the House of Commons was situated in quite a rough district, and the members used to go home in parties together because it wasn't safe to go alone. And to this day, around Berkeley Square, you can still see where they would hang these flaming torches after they had delivered the members of Parliament safely home. Well, because you asked me, you've reminded me of quite a few things that I really do think of when I hear London mentioned. And I suppose that really the tangible thing that springs to my mind when it is mentioned is the same as to a foreigner. I think that there they are now. The chimes of Big Ben alone express very simply what London is for me. And I would like to quote to you a sentence that became very famous and endearing to us all in the war from one of your own commentators, Edward Morrow. This is London. Well, this is still London, and what London means to me.
From London, you have heard the CBS Radio Workshop, recorded by Miss Sarah Churchill. The CBS Radio Workshop is produced in Hollywood by William N. Robeson. Next week, from New York, the Workshop presents Star Boy, or The Legend of the Two Morning Stars, a tale of the Blackfoot Indians. This is Hugh Douglas speaking. Khachaturian's Violin Concerto, performed by David Ostrike at Norway's Bergen Festival of Music, Drama, and Folklore, is just one of the highlights of this Sunday's program on World Music Festivals. Be sure you're listening on Sunday when World Music Festivals comes your way on most of these same stations. Stay tuned for 5 minutes of CBS News, to be followed on most of these stations by My Son Jeep. America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. Tonight, Star Boy, the legend of the two morning stars, as the tale is told by the medicine men of the great Blackfoot Indian nation. It is an ancient story of love, symbolizing the fact that in the clear morning skies of our western prairies, the planet we call Jupiter sometimes appears near the morning star like a smaller double or a sun. There are two bright stars which sometimes rise together in our morning skies just before the great sun begins his daily journey to the land of the endless waters. One is the morning star. The other is Star Boy, the morning star's son, who once was known as Poia, or Scarface. I, Natosin, keeper of the medicine of the great sun god, will tell you the story of these two stars, and of the Blackfoot, that is, T.h.ả.o woman, who was wife to one and mother to the other. And I will tell you of Swaatsaki's sad fate, and of how Poia, the fruit of her love for the morning star, finally joined his father in the skies and became a star himself. It was long ago, when the people of the T.h.ả.o still used dogs instead of horses to draw their burdens, and long before the white man came. It was in those days, one night in the gentle spring, that our people were camped near the mountains, and two young maidens were sleeping in the fresh grass outside their teepee, breathing the clean air, dreaming of their lovers to come. One of them was Swatsaki, the feather girl, the other her younger sister, who was called Annatoki. And just when the dark of night began to take refuge behind the rim of the buttes, Swatsaki opened her eyes and gazed at the morning star who was just then rising over the prairie.
Annatoki, wake up. What? Morning star. Isn't he beautiful? He is beautiful. So beautiful. How wise he must be. Annatoki? No, you're asleep, of course. There have been so many young men in the village who have wanted to marry me. But unless one comes along as beautiful as the morning star, I shall.
And Swatsaki went back to sleep. But in her sleep, the morning star looked at her fondly.
Swatsaki of the T.h.ả.o. You are indeed beautiful.
Who are you?
Do not waken. I heard your dreams.
Is it really you?
It is, Feather Girl, the morning star. I have watched over you from above and wished you could be mine.
My morning star. My love.
And Swatsaki awoke from her slumber with the golden flecks of the prairie sunflower in her eyes. And all that day and the days that followed, she smiled and sang to herself like the meadowlark as she fetched the wood and the water and scraped the buffalo hides to make winter robes for her family. But when the leaves began to fall from the sycamores, the people saw that Swatsaki was with child, and they taunted her.
Hey, Feather Girl, aren't you eating too much? Or is it something else? Whatever it is. I hear you are going to be a mother soon, Swatsaki. Where is your husband, dearie? Fighting the Cheyennes, I suppose. He is fighting braver enemies than that, I am sure.
Soatsaki knew that she was pure, but she remembered the dreams she had had in the spring and knew that she now was the wife of the morning star. There was a great happiness in her, even while she shrank from the prying questions of the other women of the clan. And then, one day, Soatsaki returned with water from a spring in the valley and found a young man blocking her path back to the camp. Soatsaki modestly turned her face away.
Step aside, stranger, and let me pass.
But I am not a stranger. You do not recognize me, reflection of my light?
You are tall and straight. Your hair is long and glossy. You smell of the sacred sweet grass and of the pines that top our mountains. And the light shines from your eyes. I know you truly, but tell me yourself.
You need to ask that of your husband, your lover, the morning star. Do you not remember that night in the month of the flowers when you slept on the dewy ground outside your family tepee and dreamed of your love for me?
I do indeed. I do remember. I do.
I fell in love with you that night. And I have now come to ask you to accompany me to the sky. We shall live in my family's great lodge with my father, the sun, my mother, the moon, and you will be happy. Never again will you hear idle slander.
All my life I have dreamed of this. It is happening, isn't it?
Will you come with me?
I shall have to say goodbye to my parents.
There's no time for that. If you come, it must be now.
I should not leave my parents without a farewell. They have been good to me. But then, you are my husband, aren't you?
I am your husband and the father of our child-to-be. You will come. I put this yellow feather into your hair and this juniper branch into your right hand. And in your left hand you will hold this spider thread. Now close your eyes.
When Soatsaki opened her eyes again, she was in the sky at the lodge of the sun and the moon, who are the parents of Morningstar. The sun god was already gone on his long daily journey across the lands of the earth, but Morningstar's mother, the moon, had just returned from a night-long pilgrimage. She had followed her husband's daytime route, granting pleasures where the sun had neglected them, especially to the smaller animals and to the young lovers.
This mother is Soatsaki, the feather girl. I saw her on the earth one night in the time of the bursting buds. She is my wife, and she will soon have a child.
My lodge is yours, feather girl, and my husband will rejoice as I do that you are bringing us a grandchild.
Thank you, moon goddess.
I am now your mother. Under the laws of the sun, it is not proper for your own mother to visit you, nor even to speak to your husband. So I shall have to act as your mother now.
Thank you, Moon Mother.
Come inside with me, feather girl. I will show you a soft buckskin dress, which I worked on for many seasons against the day when Morningstar would bring home a wife. It is as soft as a cloud and has colored stitching around the neck and soft appliance.
The sun, the chief of all living things, returned to his lodge that evening, and he also welcomed the feather girl. And as time went on, Soatsaki became a true daughter to the sun and the moon, and the moon goddess gave her new daughter many gifts, including bracelets made of elk's teeth, cleverly joined.
I give you these because you have made Morningstar happy, and so have made my husband, the sun, and me happy, too. And this is a magic digger for lifting roots. But there are secrets about this digger.
Secrets?
The digger can be used only by a pure woman.
Pure I am. What other secrets are there?
There is one plan.
Feather girl! Yee! I'm home!
I'm here.
Feather girl, your son's respects to you, mother. And to you, Soatsaki, you mother-to-be. It is a great happiness to come home to you. How is...
Everybody is fine, you fool. Your heavenly majesty. Excuse us, Mother.
There is no need. I am leaving.
I'm sorry, Mother, but men can be so ignorant about life. I thought the gods at least would know how long it takes to bear them a son.
They do not. Goodbye.
How can you be so sure that it will be a son?
Oh, I know. Look what your mother gave me.
The root digger. Did she also warn you?
Warn me about what?
That digger is magic. It will lift from the ground any root in the sky, except one.
One?
The large sacred turnip which covers the hole through which the North Star, the star that stays put, as your people call it, shines down to the earth at night. This hole is our window through which we can look down upon your land and your people. It is the hole through which I first saw you, T.h.ả.o.
Yes, but the turnip.
The gods use this magic root to close the hole during the day. Do not ever try to lift it.
No, I won't. Do you know that as a husband you are very odd? You are so wise. You teach me so much. And yet you run off each morning for no other reason than to tell the world that your father, the sun, will soon appear in my people's sky.
Your people's sky?
Yes, of course. Oh, I know the sky belongs to the gods, but we live beneath it.
You, wife, no longer live there.
Well, not now, but even the gods cannot foretell the future.
Feather Girl, are you unhappy here with me?
With you? No. I love you, my shining star. Still, this lodge...
The lodge? What is wrong with it?
Nothing, only it is your mother's lodge, not mine.
Well, does that matter?
Oh, no, not at all.
Are we not all happy here together?
Oh, yes, indeed. 3 gods and a woman of the earth, a Sixica woman. Now I want to go out and try my magic root digger. You rest, my shining star. Everything here seems to be magical.
In the proper number of passages of the sun god, of course, the Feather Girl's child was born. It was a boy, just as T.h.ả.o. had predicted. He was a straight, strong, and handsome boy. His skin was that of his mother, and his hair had the same soft texture as hers. But the sparkle in his large, shining eyes was that of his father, the morning star. The boy was perfect in all respects, except one. He had a mysterious scar on his face, and as he grew older, the scar grew larger, and so he was called Poia, which means Scarface. While Poia was still in his swaddling basket, his mother went out with him nearly every day. Out in the meadows, she would take Poia from her back and put him on the ground while she used her magic digger to gather roots for the cooking pot. There were turnips and parsnips and rutabagas, and the Feather Girl collected them all, but she always avoided the biggest one, the one which the gods had forbidden her to touch, the giant root which closes the hole in the sky. But as the moons turned into seasons and the seasons into years, T.h.ả.o. knew that there was a great pain in her heart, and that it was a pain which would grow stronger each day. It was a longing for the green earth, a longing for her own kind, the Sixica, and their way of living, and perhaps most of all, a longing for life itself. For the gods are immortal, and it is not easy for a man or a woman of our world to live with the immortals. And so there came a day.
Oh, I am so tired, I don't know. But you indecent parsnip, you monster turnip, you monument to the gods' arrogance. Have you no feelings? No, of course not. And you magic digger, you aren't any help to me either. Oh, you grandfather of all roots, why don't you move? It's no use, the morning star warned me. I I do so long to see. Oh, you cranes, you birds of the gods. Yes, you sacred birds. Can you not help a poor woman? Can you not help me? You wise-looking birds. You travel each spring to your nesting grounds in the north and then fly home again for the rest of the year. Can you not see I am like one of you? Help me, please. Thank you, wise ones. I think you've seen into my heart. I am a goddess, you know. At least I'm supposed to be. My husband is the morning star, and I live with him and the sun and the moon in that great lodge over that hill. But I am a woman of the earth. I am of the Siksika tribe, and I must see the prairies upon which my people live and die, or else I shall die myself. Will you not help me, please? What's the matter with you? What? Oh, I see you're invoking the gods. Well, I understand that at least, but I don't know that it will do any good. This root digger is supposed to be magical, but I can't say that it's been much help.
The two cranes who had remained with T.h.ả.o strutted through a dance, nodding and trumpeting, then took their places on opposite sides of the sacred turnip. And the male took hold of the leaves with his beak and began to pull back and forth until he had loosened it in its hole. And after that, when the two cranes and the feather girl pulled together, the root came out of the ground without a struggle and left a hole through which T.h.ả.o could see the earth again for the first time in years. Our people and T.h.ả.o's were just then making ready for the wolf dance, and there was much singing and praying and laughter, too. And T.h.ả.o was sad and homesick for her people. She sat for a long time and watched the familiar scenes.
Children are playing. The women are tanning buffalo hides and gathering berries. And there are the girls fetching water. And oh, look at the rows of young men along the path. Oh, the insults are flying fast, I know, just as in my time.
And T.h.ả.o longed for the life she had once known. When she returned to the lodge of the sun god, the morning star and his mother, the moon, saw right away that something important had happened to her. It was the morning star who guessed the secret.
You look unhappy, daughter.
I know. Yes, I know. You've dug up the sacred root.
I did, to my shame, and to all our sorrow.
I warned you not to do it. I knew it would cause great unhappiness.
I love my son, Feather Girl, and I wish to protect him. And I love you, too. But most of all, I love my grandson, Khuya. I do not wish to lose him.
It is true you warned me, and I opened the hole anyway. But I longed for my home, for the bustle of daily life in my village, for the yelps of dogs and the shouts of small boys, and for the friendliness of many people around me. I am not really a goddess, I suppose.
When the sun god, the head of the household, returned from his long travels, he too was told that T.h.ả.o had dug up the sacred root.
I am sorry, Earth Girl. I am grieved for my son. But you have violated the law. You must return to your people.
But, husband...
Father, silence. There is nothing I can do. The law has been broken.
But our grandchild...
My son.
I also sorrow. But this woman has broken the law, and she must return to the earth. And it would not be fair to the child to take him away from his mother.
But I could...
There will be no more discussion. The child will stay with his mother. My son, you will go and call on the Spider-Man who brought the Feather Girl up here for you. Tell him that she must go back to the earth.
Father.
I regret it, Morning Star, but there is the law.
But, husband, if
the Earth Girl would no longer be happy with us. She has seen her own people again.
And so Soatsaki returned to her people, to us, the Siksika. She wanted only to bring up her child in familiar surroundings, but the people were unkind, for which shame still attaches to the Blackfoot nation. And the boy Poia suffered much from the cruel jibes of his playmates. Once, Soatsaki tried to return to her husband. She climbed to the top of the highest bluff in the land of the Blackfeet and prayed.
Morning star, husband, I pray to you. Hear me as you once heard me, before I became your wife and the mother of your son. I beseech thee, love of my life, take me back to thee. I was at fault, grievously at fault. But can you not forgive me? I long to return to my home, the only home I have ever known as woman and wife. I do not know, morning star, if this sighing of the breeze is your answer. But I know that unless you take me into your lodge again, my life is ended. It was only the prairie that called me away from you, my love. We, the Siksika, have lived here and fought here and died here so long that this earth has become our home. But my shining love, my only husband, believe, never have I loved anyone other than thee, and I shall die a pure woman. Please be a father to our son.
And soon, Soatsaki did die. Some say it was of a broken heart. Our forefathers tell us that on the night when she joined the Great Spirit, the pines sighed again on the mountains nearby. But Soatsaki had left behind her Poia, the morning star's son, and the scar-faced boy fared even worse with the other children of the tribe than before.
He's nothing but a Scarface. Did your mother give you that?
Where was she when it happened?
The son of a god, he said.
With a scar across his face, and nobody knowing who his father was.
It was the morning star.
Poia's life was not happy, and when he grew to manhood, he fell in love. But his chosen maiden would have no part of him because of the scar on his face. Poia, despairing, consulted an old medicine woman, the only friend he had left since his mother's death.
What ails me, second mother? What ails me, Holy One?
The scar.
True, the scar.
You cannot do anything about it yourself, Poia. But I know who gave you the scar. Perhaps to punish your mother. He is the only one who can take it away.
But who would...
The father of the man who loved your mother, of course. The sun god. He always hated your mother, and perhaps you too, because he thought that your mother had robbed him of his son. But you he loved as well, because you're his grandchild. He may even have forgotten by now that he ever put the scar there.
But I still have it.
The sun god put it there. Only the sun god can take it off.
Then I shall have to journey to the home of the sun, or I shall never find a wife.
So Poia set out and journeyed across the plains and over the mountains, higher than any man can imagine, until he finally came to the big water which borders the sundown side of the world. When he reached the water's edge, he lay there for 3 days, fasting. And on the 4th day, a silvery trail appeared on the limitless waters, stretching far into the unknown. And Poia rose to his feet and followed the trail until he reached the lodge of the sun.
Oh, you! Who are you? What? Why, you're from the earth below. How dare you disturb the peace of my lodge?
Don't you recognize me, Grandfather?
Huh?
You might at least recognize the scar on my face. You put it there, didn't you?
The feather girl. Oh, I suppose I did put that scar there. I must have resented your mother very much.
Yes, sir. But I have the scar.
Does it bother you?
Yes, sir. I have found a girl, but she will not even consider me as long as I have this mark.
Oh, that is sad, isn't it? Well, we shall see.
What is sad, Father?
Oh, Morningstar, it is the boy's story. He claims that he is your son. Well, that would make me his grandfather, I suppose. Oh, yes, he also suggests that I have disfigured him and that he has trouble with girls. He does look a little gruesome at that, doesn't he?
You are not.
I am Poia, Father. They call me Scarface. Only sometimes they call me worse names, since I have neither father nor mother.
Your mother?
She died many years ago, soon after you sent us back to the earth.
What do you want, my son?
The scar.
Oh, he says that the girls don't like him. Or did I say that before?
You did, Father. But about that scar, sir, you will have to take it off. Meantime, son, you can live with us in the lodge.
And so Poia lived with the gods, helping them with their hunts and other pursuits, some of which ordinary men may not even hear about. The morning star, meantime, taught Poia many secrets, including those of the sacred sun dance and other ceremonies. In the end, after Poia's scar had finally been healed by the sun, the morning star gave Poia a magic flute to charm the heart of any girl he desired, and a wonderful song to go with it. He also gave him a robe of soft-tanned leather, decorated with sacred paintings, and told him that none but a virtuous girl should ever be allowed to wear it. Such a maiden would be able to perform miracles, such as healing the sick, merely by putting the robe over them. Morning Star then sent his son back to Earth by the short route, over the Milky Way. And when Poia had won his girl, and the two together had worked many marvels among the sick of the Blackfoot Nation and neighboring tribes, the sun god relented. He took Poia and his wife to live in the sky forever. He made Poia almost as beautiful as the morning star, and he gave him a new name, Starboy. He also gave him a circuit across the sky. But now and then, Starboy's path crosses that of his father, and when that happens, it is always a sign of good fortune for the Siksika people. It is the meeting of the two morning stars.
You have been listening to the CBS Radio Workshop and Starboy, the Blackfoot Indian legend of the two morning stars, as written by Henry E. Fritsch, with music based on authentic Blackfoot and Sioux Indian melodies, adapted and arranged by Alexander Steinert and conducted by Alfredo Antonini. Starboy was produced and directed in New York by Paul Roberts. Elspeth Eric was heard as T.h.ả.o, Louis Van Rooten as Notassin the Medicine Man, Joe Helgeson as Morning Star, and Tom Ellis as Starboy. Others in the cast included Cliff Hall, Elaine Rost, Peggy Allenby, Nell Harrison, Ray Brown, Ruth Tobin. The calls of the whooping cranes heard on the program were recorded by the Laboratory of Ornithology, Cornell University. This is Bob Hite inviting you to listen again next week when from Hollywood, the CBS Radio Workshop presents Subways Are for Sleeping, Edmund G. Love's fantastic story of a man in New York who has lived without a home for 4 years. America listens most to the CBS Radio.
With the air at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature in the interior of a budding skunk cabbage has been found to be as high as 123 degrees, 25 degrees above blood heat, and 64 degrees higher than the surrounding atmosphere.
Well, now, what do you know? Hot diggity.
There's more, I hope.
Yes, it ends with a poem in praise of the skunk cabbage.
What?
Yep, I'm not kidding.
This is in the newspaper?
It's a good newspaper.
Oh,
Intelligent.
please.
Listen. All hail to simple Carpus, the harbinger of spring. Inside his leafy carcass he boils like anything. Although he doesn't smell so sweet, this fen-side fellow yearns to break the ice and be complete. And as he yearns, he burns. Not snow, nor rain, nor gloom of night can stay his hot desire. Let's learn from him and warmly fight to lift ourselves up higher. For we... Louise, you're not listening.
No, I was listening to something else.
Well, what?
Joe, be quiet. Listen. Oh?
Cat. The neighborhood is cat full.
Oh, it's right outside our door, I'm sure. I'm going to see.
Louise, I don't like cats.
I know you don't, just skunk cabbages.
They kill birds.
Not if you put a bell on them.
Skunk cabbages?
No, nature boy, the cat. Oh,
Feed up on your own head, Louise.
Dear. Oh, isn't she a darling? Just a little stray kitten, but white all over.
Well, kittens I can take, but they grow up into cats. Any color, they get to be cats.
Oh, poor little thing. She must be starved wandering around in the snow. Here, Joe. Here, you hold her a minute while I heat some milk.
Me hold her?
Yes. Here, now, she won't bite you. Oh, listen to her purr. Oh.
Nice kitty. Nice kitty. Yeah, maybe you are. Where are you from, Miss Cat?
Color white. All white, including the ears.
Sergeant McGonagall, you are positively nuts.
Brennan, I am not nuts, not whatever. I am testing, just testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, woof. Testing.
Testing what? And don't woof at me. I scare easy.
I'm trying out the new tape recorder, this thing.
Oh, another gadget. What's it for?
For the convenience of duly elected public officials and for the confusion of the criminal classes, especially drunken drivers.
How so, for instance?
Well, for instance, supposing you pull in a drunk in a brand-new Fire-make sports car for speeding down 25A under the influence of intoxicating libation.
Oh, no, not me. No, not no foreign-make sport car.
Right, no. You are. Make it a 1938 Rio. All right.
Yeah.
So... you drag some poor square-type drunk in here, falling over your feet as usual. We invite this lush to read the Gettysburg Address into the gadget here, and, brother, it tells on him.
No.
Or suppose, for instance, the Honorable Charles A. Peabody, Justice of the Peace, supposing he wants to record one of his bad jokes for posterity.
Yeah?
He just presses a button, he talks into this, and then press another button. Now listen...
Hey, what in the world is that?
That is you going backwards, which is what you are usually doing.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
And you see, we got to go backwards before we can go forwards again.
Huh?
All right, here we go. Now, listen, boy, just listen.
Now,
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there
That's
was a
me.
small white cat or kitten which had got lost. Said small white kitten or cat...
Oh,
That's you.
Who are you talking to? Subside, Brennan, and get your chin off on the desk rail. Now, once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten named...
Maybe I don't talk so good after all.
In French, Brennan.
How would you know, talking to yourself?
Why,
Hey,
according to secret but recently declassified...
Yeah, but I got a very nice deep voice.
The police department, 3rd precinct.
Yeah.
This here now small white cat or kitten was 3 months old when first apprehended in 1954.
But that ain't so bad, is it?
Previous record, none.
Huh.
Occupation, cat. Color, white. All white, including the ears.
Sergeant McGonagall, you are positively nuts.
Brennan,
Fred, me pal, do I sound like that?
For your sins, Patrick Brennan, you do.
Oh, no.
And so do I. And all at the taxpayer's expense.
Yeah, but what's all that stuff about a cat?
I'm telling a story, Pat, into the machine. On account I got to learn how to operate the thing.
A story?
Yeah. A mystery story.
Oh, like in the movies.
Movies. The movies wouldn't touch it. This story probes too deep, Pat. It lays bare the human heart.
Honest? Really bare?
I don't know. I haven't sold it yet. Now, let me see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Once upon a time, there were 3 small trees. A, B, and C. All three trees aforementioned are guaranteed to contain chlorophyll, sap, bark, and buds, which are waiting for the springtime. And behind the three trees, let me tell you, there are three houses. A, B, and C. Said three houses are all alike. But said three houses are not all together in a row. Scattered they are all over Hillside Manor, which it ain't got no hill and not so much manners, but it is now in Precinct 3 for better or worse. On paper, Hillside Manor looks like this on a map here behind my desk where I'm pointing, see? Police think, get that, Brennan, police think that the cat or kitten in question came from approximately here through an open kitchen door. And it is surmised by police that at on or about this point, the poor little feline was scared stiff by a large Airedale Terrier known to frequent the neighborhood after dark with evil companions. So what does she do? She hightails it out of there to about here, approximately, where she sits down to sort of think, near House A, here. Our reconstruction of the circumstances can now proceed only by way of conjecture. And you, Officer Brennan, will kindly note that beautiful expression. Police think the youthful cat may have been alarmed once again by this. Which has been known to scare the pants off anybody since they give up steam whistles on the railroad. She couldn't know it's just the commuters getting home worried like her. So she winds up here at House C, all tucking out. The back porch looks familiar. Very familiar. And inside House C, there's the Curtis family, just Joe and Louise. Very nice people, the Curtis. They're sort of educated, but no children.
Dear.
Yeah, just a second, darling. Oh, what is it, Joe?
First sign of spring in newsletter, believe it or not. You ever hear tell about skunk cabbage?
No, I haven't, and I don't think I want to.
First sign of spring out here says so.
Oh, spring. Why, it's only February, February what?
February 21st.
Spring.
Did you listen to this? Mm-hmm. Up and down the northern shore, our first harbinger of spring, now visible, is Symplocarpus fetidus, the common skunk cabbage, which, as Thoreau put it, sees over the brow of winter's hill.
Mm-hmm. Thoreau said everything.
Just about. Mm-hmm. Well, the editorial goes on. This lowly, rank, and stinking member of the lily family possesses, in lieu of beauty or pleasant scent, a remarkable hardiness, and the property of increasing its interior temperature as it forces its bud through the chilly crust of February. Like a species of green fire, it literally burns its way up out of snow and ice to find the sunlight.
Attaboy, cabbage. Find me some sunlight. Oh, continue, Joe. Don't mind me.
Yes, well, with the air at 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature in the interior of a nascent?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a skunk cabbage.
Well, the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. According to Funk and Wagnall's Desk Standard Dictionary of about 83,000 words and phrases and 1,200 pictorial illustrations, a mystery is something unknown, unexplained, or incomprehensible in its nature. The definition could add that nobody likes a mysterious situation indefinitely, including the police, whose job it is to make the unknown known and to apprehend the incomprehensible. And so it is tonight that we present George H. Faulkner's story of a mystery. It now can be told. The Case of the White Kitten. Our scene, a police station in the suburbs of a large city, possibly the city of New York.
And my name is McGonagall. I ain't a cop. I'm a police officer, duly sworn to uphold the laws of this state, be they good or be they lousy, such as they may be. Now, once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten which it got lost. Said small white kitten or cat which it got lost. Hey,
McGonagall, what is this? Who are you talking to?
Subside, Brennan, and get your chin off in a desk rail.
Oh.
Now, Once upon a time, there was a small white cat or kitten named Blanche, which means white in French, Brennan.
Well, how would you know, talking to yourself?
Why, according to secret but recently declassified files of the Shorefield Township Police Department, 3rd Precinct, this here now small white cat or kitten was 3 months old when first apprehended in 1954, 2 years ago. Previous record, none. Occupation, cat.